It's fake. They done.
I knew there was never like anything fluffy. It's like no crowds, no.
We got engaged on New Year's Eve. And we got the just so we went home after getting the Justin's approve all that paper. That's a whole other situation. But we got it all together. Okay, I have it all together. Give it 1 second. We went outside, we talked about it, and then so we did. We came home and we said, everybody's sick. Start calling everybody, calling everybody, all the relatives that he got.
Were you here today?
I was here.
Yeah.
No, I was there.
You were Turkey.
Yeah.
When you got married in Turkey.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Before she got her dress, got her hairdresser, got the florist, all these things had to come together. We had a wonderful ceremony. Big very quick and teaching. We put all the effort into all the things we could do. She looked beautiful. Hairdo, and they made these little floral arrangements like a little then we didn't have to do a whole big thing. So we came to stay beside that child. That thing was done. And my church and my cousin had become up for Iowa. So he came up from Iowa. So yeah, so got the same dress. I had to let it out. We didn't write it as a different 6 months before. But yeah, it's a nice one. Because we let it go. Oh, okay, we're gonna start this in a year from everything was
And this is like, I just never mind it, right? I was like a person on the scripture.
You buy a wedding thing. Even a lot of them are just like a customer, even though they do the same thing. You tell them. And then that's gone. It isn't gone. What do you do with it?
Well, and I thought so there wasn't any. Yeah.
Casino, all that kind of stuff.
So I'm so glad.
They bought me a suit. Because I didn't bring that over. So we were thinking, we're just like, I wasn't thinking of like, I think it was pretty certain of that. I almost had that marriage and left this country. But I was like, well, we've known each other for 2 months. So we're going to say that. Been 19 minutes. I was like, okay.
You wouldn't have it any other way, Josh. You know, it's long and easy doing all the clothes.
Yeah,
It's
few months.
Oh, I can't.
No, yeah. This is good. In that case, they're even better than
Because sometimes
yes, yes. Yeah, because it's really hard
They use camphor, but they
making up all the.
Well, we're used to bake. We're used to bake.
Yeah, and then somebody says, oh, I have this great muffins are gluten-free.
Somebody switches up
Agarbatti.
oh, the incense.
Incense. That's what they use. And then just candles.
Yeah, like they do.
Yes.
So it doesn't create
Doesn't
that.
create it.
That's the problem that we have.
But because of their few years old now, things can be become customers.
Yes. Correct. Correct. And even the clothes. There's no place for clothes.
Instead of
Well, I
like.
know that's where it's getting box in there, all of these things.
Oh, okay, so now I have.
So I think some of it has to
Scarf it.
at some point.
We got a new saree for Devi.
Oh.
Beautiful one. They take this video, present it to her.
Yeah, what color?
It's called salmon color, I think. Some
Yeah.
like this, but little lighter. It's a pattern. It's a traditional Maharashtrian type, looks very good. And we got some jewelry for her also. So we'll present all that.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll be good. We'll get somebody to dress her, like with you, or somebody who's fond of having that.
yes, you can really go to
We'll
town.
recruit Vanaja, somebody who's like.
It's Spring Navaratri next month. Spring Navaratri.
Oh, no. Spring Navaratri. Yes, that will be a good occasion. Good. Yeah.
That'll be very nice.
Right.
I think she uses it for her feet.
Oh, okay.
Take one.
Thank you. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. If the rope exemplifies the adhisthana, means the truth of oneself, the truth of everything, and the snake exemplifies the jagat, then it should be that upon gaining well ascertained knowledge that is clear and free of all errors, the Jagat should do an about face, just like the snake did. The Jagat should slither away, correct? Doesn't happen. Yeah. That's why we like the pot clay example better. Because once you know that there is no pot, all is clay, the pot can remain. Right? And the pot is not opposed to clay. This is Shruti example. Ekena mrit pindena sarvan mrinmayam vigyatam iva syat. By knowing one lump of clay, every artifact in the clay world is as it were completely understood. By knowing one thing, everything is as good as known. This is our bread and butter. That is the question to ask. In every Upanishad, this is the question that is asked. And so, the pot does not disappear. In fact, I don't have to take a hammer and powder it. You know? And I don't have to powder the pot. I don't have to make the pot disappear. That's why sometimes, people wear long sleeves. This is called sleight of hand. In fact, you don't need any such tricks. This is Indian magic, holding the pot right there and making it disappear. Right in the face. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to paint the pot, you don't have to slip it in your sleeve, you don't have to say look that way and this way, nothing. Very honest magic, correct? So what has disappeared? Pot is still here. What has disappeared? Really? Tell me.
Our ignorance.
Ignorance with regard to the status of the pot as a self-existent thing in itself has disappeared. Pot hasn't disappeared. Pot need not disappear. Pot cannot disappear. But still, my vision has been altered. The scales of ignorance from my vision have disappeared. Poof. And so, even though I see pot, I see only clay. What a vision, huh? Wonderful. So even though I'm seeing the pot, when I say pot is clay, I'm making what is called samanadhikaranyam. Samanadhikaranyam means a statement of apposition, not opposition, apposition. That pot is equal to clay. And in this samanadhikaranyam there is a negation, correct? That pot is sublated and only the clay is seen. So this is the way the Jagat is not really negated, sublated for the Jnani. That is what the next verse, 83, 84, I forgot, whatever it is, that is what it's trying to say. That it's not the rope snake kind of disappearance. It's not that the rope, upon being cognized as the rope, leads to the disappearance of the snake. Similarly, upon the cognition of everything as Asti Bhati Priyam, Satchidananda, then what happens? The Jagat disappears. Don't forget, this is a very big quandary. And don't forget for a moment that the Jagat includes your own body and your own mind and the senses. So supposing somebody suddenly becomes a Jnani. I see it. And then what? See what? Nothing. Throws up the hands disappear, legs disappear. Jnani's mind disappears, so there is nobody who says, I see it. Doesn't happen. In fact, the fact that the Jnani can enjoy the Jnanam is because of this duality, this apparent duality. Very interesting. Because of this duality alone, the Jnani can enjoy the Jnanam. So which duality are we talking about? Bhagavan's srishti. Bhagavan's duality. Bhagavan's duality is like pot clay. When I know everything to be clay, the pot does not have power over me. Everything is clay. I'm not afraid of the pot. And if I'm identifying as the pot, I don't feel limited compared to this big one. You know? Yeah, this is NRI pot. What does NRI mean? Non-returning Indian. Okay? Not non-resident Indian. Non-returning Indian, the one who will not go back. And this is the American style pot, correct? Yeah. This is the immigrant pot. This one is also an immigrant, but came on the Mayflower, so everybody says. Yeah. So if this pot knows itself as only pot, then it will be intimidated by these other pots, who can swallow it up completely. But it says, Kleyoham, I am clay, aham clay. And so even the tatas, the granddaddies of these pots cannot intimidate it. It's not afraid, you see. So the cessation of fear after the cognizance of this vision, after the cognizance of the fact that I am Satchidananda, the cessation of fear and the cessation of sorrow is seen as the cessation of samsara. The Jagat it's not the cessation of the Jagat. It's the cessation of the projections. What projections now? Jiva Srishti. My own projections on top of the Jagat are what is causing sorrow. And that's why the rope snake example is tenable in this to illustrate my own projections which disappear like the snake did. This is pot clay example to show Ishvara Srishti, rope snake example to show Jiva Srishti. The latter disappears, the former stays because it is infallible. Jiva Srishti is my own projection. Bhagavat Srishti, Bhagavan's projection. Ishvara's projections are infallible. Ishvara is that which is infallible being Ishvara. The projection is also infallible. No, but I have the wrong parents. Somebody said, no, you don't have the wrong parents. They are so right for you. No, but I don't like them. That's a different thing. Somebody said, in India this happens frequently. You see the advertisements in the paper, in the classifieds. And this 45-year-old man once put an ad and says, I want to be adopted. This is what it is. Because I have what's the other word? Disowned. I have denounced also probably, disowned my parents. And I want to be adopted preferably into a rich family. You can do that, perhaps. There's no limit to human madness. So anything is possible. But really speaking, that doesn't, detract from the fact that the parents are absolutely right for you. Yeah, that's what it is. Siblings are also absolutely right for you. And if you don't have any, that's also absolutely right for you. That you live in a particular town, in a particular place, and that you have had these children, all that is absolutely right. Your own karma, gift wrapped and recycled. We learned recycling from Bhagavan only. That's all it is. Absolutely correct. Absolutely infallible, because it is absolute. So therefore, the scales of the ragadveshas which are occluding the vision have to fall in order to appreciate this Jagat as Bhagavan. And therefore, both the examples are tenable, but they illustrate two different things. Pot clay is mithya, and rope snake, pratibhasikam. Pratibhasikam is the word for subjective projections. Bhagavan's projections cannot be subjective, because Bhagavan has no raga and dvesha. That's why we don't believe in this, what is that expression? Chosen one, chosen few. In some sects and some cults also they say we are the chosen ones. Bhagavan doesn't choose. There's nothing to choose. Choice comes from raga and dvesha. There is no raga dvesha. But why doesn't Bhagavan have no raga dvesha? Why doesn't Bhagavan have raga dvesha? Because there is no antahkaranam. What is antahkaranam? Inner instrument is not there. The mind is not there. Oh, Bhagavan is mindless. Oh, that means all minds are Bhagavan's minds? Yes, in a way that's true. But for that, Bhagavan is not mind. Bhagavan is knowledge that transcends the limitations of any one mind or all of them put together. Bhagavan is all knowledge without needing a resting place or a locale for this knowledge. This all pervasive, all knowledge that is manifest as the Jagat. And in this projection, it is totally benign, it is totally free of raga dveshas, vengeances, accounts to settle, fears, problems. It is totally free of all that. And since it is totally free of all that, then it goes to show that this Jagat is what? Is Bhagavan. The ability to see that is moksha. That's what this, the verse seems to be saying. Let us look at it now deeply. Parame Brahmani, in Brahman, seventh case. In Brahman. In Brahman means what? Everything is quote unquote in Brahman only. So, in Brahman, and where is this Brahman? Swasmin, in oneself. Pravilapya, having resolved. Having resolved, pra plus vi plus lapaha. Pravilapya plus lyap. So, pravilapya, having resolved what? Akhilam Jagat, the entire universe. Having resolved this entire universe, where? In oneself. Just like the pot says, I am no longer pot, I am clay. It has resolved the whole clay world into itself. That's the whole idea. And this resolution, so to speak, becomes very confusing for people. How to resolve the whole Jagat into myself? This is how. Badhayam, through a certain kind of a understanding through which I see everything as my own extension. It's all me. Whatever I like, me. Whatever I don't like, especially me. And seeing everything like that, and not allowing the raga and dvesha to prevail upon my mind so that they in turn morph into various projections. And projections lead to dejection. That's all it is. And so therefore, pravilapya, resolving this universe, resolving mentally, not actually, trying to cut down everything that is there and make it in one. No. Resolving cognitively, resolving thoughtfully, mindfully, mentally, on the cognitive level alone resolving. And this is done, through self-knowledge, through attending the classes. It happens naturally. And then we can accelerate or help the speed by doing what is called open eye meditation. Keep the eyes half open, don't close them. Be outdoors. The weather is so nice these days, you can do that. Be outdoors if possible, or at least sit in front of a window if it's not possible to be outside. Half close the eyes and just have a soft gaze to what all you can see out of the window. Everything that you can see. You see houses. What are houses made of? Wood. What is wood made of? Trees. What are trees? Living beings. They are jivas. What is jiva? Ishvara. See, everywhere you go, you end up in Ishvara. What is Ishvara? I. Swasmin. And then same thing. Then you see other trees, same thing. You see the sky, you see clouds, you see sun, or maybe it's overcast, you see only the clouds. And then you see a body of water, a river, lake, something. Then everything you start resolving into its own cause, and he's going to explain that little later. First you resolve it into its relative cause. House made of what? Wood. Wood comes from where? Trees. Trees come from where? Earth. Earth comes from where? 5 elements. 5 elements came from where? Atma. How do you know? Tasmad va etasmad atmana akashas sambhutah akashad vayuh vayoragnih agnerapah adbhyah prithivi prithivya oshadhayah. Like this. You just keep resolving. Each cause becomes an effect when it is confronted by its tata cause. Not grandfather clause, grandfather cause. Okay? And then what? Then that grandfather cause becomes grandson cause to another grandfather cause. The grandest of causes is the causeless cause, which is aham, which is the uncaused cause, which is always the cause, never because. This is the cause. And this cause, the causal status, is there because I am looking at these various discrete things. But then everything pravilapya, along with the cause, the causal status is also swallowed. All there is Sachidanandam Brahma. Akhilam Jagat pravilapya. So having swallowed the whole Jagat, this person, is not culpable at all. There should be something in the constitutions of various countries that it is illegal to swallow up the whole Jagat. But there isn't, thankfully. So it is not a culpable offense to get Atma Jnanam. And so therefore, having swallowed up the whole Jagat, what does this person do? Gayan aste. Aste remains. Asbhuvi, remains. Remains what? Gayan, present, participle. Gayan aste, remains singing. Keeps singing. They said that, that Emperor Nero played something. What did he play? Fiddle, yeah. When Rome was burning, Nero was fiddling. And I mean, either he had a sense of humor or he must have been a jnani, because otherwise how is it possible to do that? Gayan aste. Gayan aste means the singing which is an expression of that contentment. You see, the fact that it is coming soon after the verse on Maunam is not accidental. This is just to completely bend the mind of all preconceived notions of how a jnani must be. Oh, you're singing, you cannot be a jnani. Sorry, and you move on, Oh, you're not talking. Okay, I want to learn from you only. Yeah. This is the thing. So that's why in the first verse that we studied today, Maunam aste. Keep silent, because what is the use of talking? What is there to talk about? Who is there to talk with? And it's a contentment that is beyond words. And so really what is there to talk? How to even articulate it, and to whom and for what purpose? And here the same jnani is shouting and singing. How, how, how. Samaveda. That is what Gayan naste. Ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannam. Ahamannado, ahamannado, ahamannadah. Ahagga shloka krud, ahagga shloka krud, ahagga shloka krut. This is how the person sings. Ha, hu, ha is just a tune, No meaning here. Aham annam. I am the food. No, wait. I am the eater of the food. No, I am both. I am the food, I am the eater of the food, I am everything. I am the giver of the food, I am the eater of the food. I am the composer of the Vedas. Aham asmi prathamajarita asyaha. I am the only one that is cognizing everything else. Everything is an object of my understanding. I am the subject. The person is singing. Singing here is an expression of that same contentment which we encountered in the last mantra, which was expressed through silence in that instance. Here, the person is singing. It's a dynamic expression of that Satchidananda. That contentment, that happiness is, the person is singing. Singing also denotes there is no care in the world. If one is constantly beleaguered by worries, you will find it very hard to sing. Yeah, even in the bathroom, Usually people manage a few tunes in the bathroom. But if one is worried, that day, nobody will be singing from the bathroom. Only worries will be coming. So the person is singing means there is not a care, not worried about anything. Gayan aste remains delighted. Whether singing, talking, not talking, sitting, sleeping, eating, doing whatever. Why? And why is this person delighted? The person is delighted because Satyam and Mithya have been uncovered. And Satyam has been owned up as oneself. Mithya has been debunked as a dependent reality which has no power over me. Number one. And the other reason the person is singing is because the whole Jagat has been resolved into oneself alone. The whole Jagat is Mithya. So the whole Jagat is nothing but myself alone. So therefore, without a care in the world, the person is Gayan Aste. Very nice. Gayan. What is the topic of the song? Advaitam Atmanam. Yeah. Keeps on singing the glory of the non-dual Atma. Does not sing about anything else other than one's own glory. So, singing, about oneself, one is happy. Being oneself, one is happy. So, the topic of the song is Advaita Atma. This non-dual. See, non-dual means that this pravilapanam has to take place. Pravilapanam here means what? The resolution. Cognitive resolution that all that is here is just a show for me. It's all dependent on me alone. And so, Advaitam Atmanam Gayan Aste. And in the previous verse, Maunam Aste. And so, iti Vedanta Dindimaha. Pratilomanulomabhyam Vishvaropapavadayoh Chintane shishyate tattvam iti Vedanta Dindimaha. Pratilomanulomabhyam Vishvaropapavadayoh Chintane shishyate tattvam iti Vedanta Dindimaha. Now what was illustrated in verses 83 and 84 is talked about how. The how to is talked about in 85 and and to a certain extent in 86 also. So here, how to do this is talked about. Pratiloma means the reverse order. Pratiloma means reverse order. Anuloma means in the correct order, according to the order. Anulomabhyam, dual, through this, third case. So, third case dual. So, pratiloma, anuloma. By the combined reasoning, by deploying the combined reasoning with regard to what the Shruti says. He's going to say this later, we'll see. But I can't explain pratiloma without this, so I'm just getting a little ahead of ourselves, little bit here. So pratiloma and anuloma refers to the order in which the whole Jagat, this manifest universe, has come, to be. Thus now we cited one Taittiriya Shruti. Tasmad va etasmad, tasmat Brahmanaha, from that Brahman which is indeed etasmat, from that Brahman which is this Atma, this self, came Akasha, the subtlest of the elements. And from the Akasha came what? Vayu. Subtlest how? Because it is not sensed by any of the, sound, space, like that, there is just certain connections. Then Vayu, one sense, touch, sense of touch. Sound, for space. And then Vayu, one sense organ, sense of touch and sound you can hear too. And then what? Vayoho Agnihi. From this Vayu came Agni. Very subtle this all is. From the air came the fire. Fire can be objectified by three senses. You can see it, you can touch it, you don't want to, but you can. And then what else? You can hear it. And then you have Agnehe Apaha. From the fire came the waters. Water also you can taste. The other elements you cannot taste. And finally, Adbhyaha Prithivi. You can also smell the earth. That earthy smell when it rains, that is the smell of the earth. Gandhavati Prithivi. And so, this way from the subtlest to the grossest, that is called Anuloma, the correct order. Order according to how the Shruti has talked about. So you keep doing like this. This is a certain kind of a resolution, correct? So first you take Atma, it's already resolved, and from the Atma all this came. So suddenly you have Atma plus the five elements, Atma plus Aushadhi, the trees, Atma plus food, Atma plus other jivas, Atma plus all these things. This is a value added plus. Yeah, it is a plus that makes no difference. And then you take all of them away, it's a minus that makes no difference, Atma being already infinite. So first you do it like this, plus, 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 plus. Then you see the Atma grow fat, as it were, with the Jagat. Correct? And then you do Pratiloma. You do the other order. What is that? You keep minusing, minusing, minusing. That is also a form of Pravilapanam. So Pratiloma, Anuloma, Abhyam, deploying these two methods called Pratiloma and Anuloma with regard to the order in which the whole universe has emerged according to the Shruti, according to the Vedas. So when you see that, and when you see yourself as that in whose presence, at that presence, in whose witness everything unfolds, then you see yourself growing into this whole universe, then also there is no problem. Because you are the whole universe. You grow, 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 grow. You grow bigger than this room. You grow bigger than this town. You grow bigger than this, earth. You grow bigger than the solar system. You grow bigger than the Milky Way galaxy. You grow bigger than the neighboring galaxies, and you have accommodated the whole universe. You grow as big as the universe. These are all meditations, by the way. This is a meditation. There also, what? Gayan naste. You are just filled with the fullness of yourself. How can you say, I am small, when you are the whole universe? And you take the help of the Shruti here. And Shruti reveals a certain order in which everything came. And you take the help of the Shruti, and what do you say? This is how I have grown. I am the whole universe. This is what the Shruti says. Then you reverse the order, and then you start taking away. Then you resolve each one into its relative cause. Where did the earth come? Where did the trees come from? Earth. Where did the trees are now swallowed? Only the earth is left. Earth came from waters. Now earth is swallowed. Water is left. Water came from fire. Water is swallowed. Fire is remaining. And then fire is swallowed. Air is remaining. Air is swallowed. And then space is remaining. Space is swallowed. I am remaining. I am swallowed? Na eva. Never. I am that causeless cause. So, but why do I have to do this up and down? Climb up the ladder and climb it down. Because if you just sort of say, I am the whole universe, you're stuck with the universe. Then you have a hyper-kartritvam. The danger of hyper-kartritvam is there. Everything is because of me. All the killings are because of me. Oh, what a terrible universe I am. Because the ragadveshas can lurk back in, and if it's, it's not this thing. So both of them done the filling and the emptying. This is what Mandukya Upanishad talks about. Very beautifully. Atma, that ma, in the word Atma, Mandukya Upanishad derives as ma to measure. Just like in the ancient days, when the paddy or whatever, wheat, vrihi, yava, barley, wheat, whatever it was, they had to take it to the market, correct? So it would all be winnowed. And it was, even now you can see it in India, it's such in the rural area, such a beautiful sight. All these women wearing colorful saris, especially in the north, you can see this. They'll stand on small mounds, little hillocks, and have this winnowing basket, and all the husk is gone, and the grain remains. In Eugene, they do everything opposite. They want the husk, and they will throw away the grain. So, somewhere I saw in one grocery store, what is that? Wheat husk. Yeah, organic. Because nobody can have gluten, so you don't eat the wheat, but you have the husk. So then, anyway, so this winnowing, and after this winnowing is done, then they bring all these bushels, these big, what is that called? That cauldrons. They put the things and they roll the cauldrons in one place. Now you have to take it to the market. So they have a measure, because they have to measure out, because they may be sending some people, so that there is no theft or anything, so that this is how you can do the accounting. So you take it from that bushel, one measure, you take it from one particular vat of grains, and you put it into this empty one. And then you keep, you keep measuring, first is what? Akasha, Vayu, Prithvi, fire, air, water, earth, trees, all these jivas, everything, And then what happens? And then at the marketplace, then it is emptied. Yeah. And then it comes back, empty. Then the next day it is filled. And this whole filling and this emptying. That ma, ma to measure, even in Om, that makara, is that it is mimite, the one who measures the jagat in oneself, measuring the jagat. So you can't be stuck with the universe. If you're stuck with the universe, you're stuck with hyper-kartritvam. And no, but what about this empty state? That's also nice. No, that's also not completely correct. Because the Jagat is here, but the Jagat is here without being here. So both of these are exercises called Nididhyasana, to firm the understanding, to affirm the understanding. This is something that one can really do in one's spare time. So much fun. So like this, Pratiloma, reverse order, and Anuloma, according to that order. So the plusing and the minusing of myself and the Jagat, including this body, mind, sense complex, leads one to firm this understanding that this universe is nothing other than me, and it is not a separate entity. That is what the whole idea is. And then, see, Pratiloma Anuloma Bhyam Vishva Aropa Apavadayoho. So this superimposition, Vishwa Aropa, Vishwa is Jagat here, Aropa is the superimposition of the Jagat, and Apavada means negation. So the superimposition is the filling, and the Apavada is the emptying. So the filling and the emptying, the superimposition and the negation, the repeated superimposition and the negation is called Chintanam, contemplation. So this cognitive resolution successively of each thing into its cause until you reach the causeless cause, which is the irreducible cause. That is myself. That alone is the truth. That is alone myself. That is a reality. Thus spake Vedanta. Iti Ghoshana. Dindima means the resounding proclamation of Vedanta is that only through Adhyaropa Apavadabhyam Nishprapancham Prapanchyate. There is a saying. Nishprapancham means that which is without prapancha. Prapancha means without the five elements, without this universe. Nishprapancham, that which is without the five elements, is prapanchate, is populated by the five elements through adhyaropa and apavada. These are also techniques, pedagogical techniques in Vedanta, in teaching Vedanta. And these teaching methodologies, one is adhyaropa. You see the superimposition. Pot, clay, rope, snake, whatever it is. And you from the rope snake you graduate, or the pot clay, you graduate to the five elements. The five elements likewise are a superimposition, just like the pot is a superimposition, quote unquote, upon clay. Then apavada, you negate the pot. You negate the five elements. How do you negate them? You resolve them into their immediate cause. Like even the shirt resolves into its immediate cause, the fabric. Similarly, the whole fabric of this universe, you resolve into yourself by resolving each thing into its immediate cause until only one thing remains, and that is myself, which is free of everything else. This is the understanding. Very beautiful teaching is given, and this is really connected to verses 83 and 84, because in 85 the methodology of how to accomplish what is given in 83 and 84 is talked about. Shishyate tattvam. Tattvam means thatness, the truth of everything. Now this one or the next one, there was a Patha Bheda. Let me just check. No, this one is okay, yeah. Then the next one is going to talk about the contrast. This is again another teaching methodology that is employed. And we learn this from the Upanishad herself. In the Upanishad we have this scenario. If you do this, yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaskas sada shuchihi Sodhvanah param apnoti yasmat bhuyo na jayate. The one who is an intelligent person, the Kathopanishad. And samanaskaha, mindful, sada shuchihi, always practicing purity in terms of not giving into the ragadveshas. Saha advanaha, the person will be on the right royal road of Vedanta. Param apnoti, will cross samsara. Yasmat, from which place bhuyaha na jayate, does not need to be reincarnated again. Two, whereas, however, the bad news is also given. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati amanaska sada ashuchihi. And then, what happens to such a person? The opposite of the previous. Samsaram cha adhigacchati. Will keep reproducing samsara. This is a particular teaching methodology to say the choice is yours. I'm just giving you both sides of the scenario. Take whatever you think you want. Is it really a choice? No, it's a choiceless choice. But to show the other side is a very important technique which is used by the Upanishads, and here by Nrisimha Bharati also. Who is Nrisimha Bharati? The author of Vedanta Dindima, Shankaracharya of Sringeri Pitha, a previous Shankaracharya in the 16th century. So now, Nama Rupa Bhimanasyat Samsara Sarvadehinam Satchidananda Drishtisyat Muktir Vedanta Dindimaha. Yeah, so here it is saying what is, in case you have forgotten, because these small details. What are the small details? What is moksha? What is samsara? Tiny, small details. In case you have forgotten, because after all, that was discussed in verse number 3, 4, 5, etc. And now we are in the 90s. Age-wise we are not in the 90s, but verse-wise we are coming to the 90s. We are in the late 80s, not according to our age, but perhaps according to our memory. Definitely we are in our late 80s, and so everything has been probably just forgotten. So this is just a kind of a brain teaser to remind us back why this is important. And it's giving a new definition of both samsara and moksha from the standpoint of these nididhyasanas that have been offered to us. So the nididhyasanas that were offered was what? How to resolve this jagat, correct? Yeah. And then why, supposing someone says, why should I resolve this jagat? Then you can quote this verse. Because without resolving the jagat into yourself, what will happen? Samsara will happen. So what is samsara? Nama rupa abhimanah samsarah syat. Nama rupa everybody knows, right? What is nama rupa? Name and form. So nama rupa, and nama rupa is not samsara. Be careful. Yeah. Nama rupa is not samsara because that falls under what? Bhagavad Srishti. Nama rupa cannot be samsara. No, but the nama rupa is causing problems for me. That is samsara. So, but how? But nama rupa is causing problems for you. Why? Because I am identified with that nama rupa. That's why it's causing problems. So nama rupa is not causing problems by themselves. Nama rupas are just benign things which have forms, and you have to call the things which have forms, so you have some names for the forms. Big deal. How can that cause samsara? Yeah. What's the big deal there? Nothing. You have to refer to something. You can't always say, that layered, petaled, many petaled, perfected flower with a hip, rose hip. That's what it's called. It's got a hip and it comes in certain colors. Most of them these days, because they are hybrid, don't have any fragrance. By the time you talk like this, finished, nobody will be there to listen. So therefore you have to refer to something. Why not call it a rose? Call it a rose. Rose, then you get used to it. Rose means every day. Yeah. So, every day you say, today you say rose, tomorrow you say rose, then rose, you say rose. That's what you keep saying. And so you get used to it. And this is what is nama. The name cannot bind. Name is not samsara. Because as soon as you hear the word rose, nothing should happen. There should not be fear. And neither should there be dejection. But frequently there is. Because some people might be allergic to rose. Finished. You can't even be near a rose. Don't put me near a rose. For another person, the rose reminds that person of the lost love. Correct? Why is the love lost? Ran away with someone else. And, who had more roses. And that's what it is. So therefore, and so here the nama called rose and the rupa, the form called rose, is not giving me problems. The association, the sangha. Sangha with the nama rupa is causing problems. This is what we have to differentiate. Nama rupas.
Left with the thorns.
Even through the petals I see only that it becomes a thorny issue when I am identified with the name and form. Abhimana here means tadatmya, identification. When there is a meanness and a minus there. It's like that person who was there, who planted all the roses along the fence. And then what? The flowers are indiscriminating. They are not going to, only flower in this side of the fence. They are going to go over the fence. And then you have a new defense because nobody should enjoy the flowers on the other side. Then you buy one dog to guard the fence. Like this, the samsara grows. I went to a conference in California. It was a very beautiful place. And there were some other people from other countries. And then everybody said, this is such a beautiful place, we should take a photograph. And some of them were elderly also, these religious leaders. So then we all stood there in somebody's front yard, like this, full of roses. And then we stood there, and maybe the elderly man, rested his elbow on the fence. And this horrible looking dog, poor thing, barking away, came down the driveway, long driveway, you couldn't even see the house. And then behind him, the owner with a gun came. Get off my property. We are not on your property. We are out. You touching my fence. Because something must have triggered there.
Fence.
Yeah, no, it was not electric fence. Something alarm triggered there. It was connected to something in the house. I don't know how, I don't know why, but this is what it was. So we quickly did namaste and beat our retreat from there. Doesn't matter if we don't have the background of the roses for our photograph. This is what it is. So the whole life is in the rose, and and these religious leaders also, sometimes they choose the wrong places to start teaching. And that elderly gentleman, no, non-violence is the way. I said, come out of there. Don't talk to him. Because that man is red. The bulldog is red. Everything is red. His eyes are red and he's holding a gun in his hand. And the bishop is giving one lecture there. He's starting his discourse. The 85-year-old gentleman. And no, we can live happily, we can all coexist, my friend. And this person is not seeing him and he's keeping on shouting, get off, I mean it. And I just said, just come away from here. Oh, but I had a lot more to say, never mind. You can tell us. This is what it is. All for one rose, There was even one war of roses. Yeah. You see, this is what? One rose, how many things it brings up. So many things it brings up. That clearly shows it's not the rose. What is it? It is my own ragadveshas that have identified and associated with a name called rose and form called rose. And as a result of which I am glub, 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 barely alive, barely floating in the sludge of samsara. This is what the whole thing. So Nama Rupa Nama Rupa is not samsara. Nama Rupa Abhimanah samsarah syat. The Abhimana, the identification with, the association with Sangha is called samsara. That's why Bhagavan Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has a very interesting definition of yoga. There's a definition of yoga, and one of the definitions, of course we know yoga, samatvam yoga uchyate. Three kinds of yoga is, three definitions of yoga is there. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity is yoga. Yoga means a joining of the mind with the organs and everything. So a certain kind of awareness, filled activity, equanimity. Samatvam yoga uchyate. First definition. Second definition, yoga karmasu kaushalam. A certain, dexterity in action is also yoga. And then finally, tam vidyat dukkha samyoga viyoga yoga samgitam. Know that to be yoga. What is yoga? In the third instance, the dissociation, the conscious dissociation from association with sorrow is yoga. Brilliant. Brilliant. This is what he's talking about here. Namarupa is not samsara. The association, my association with the velcro of ragadveshas, which makes the association sticky. So my association is with all these namarupas, with the sense of me-ness, my-ness and some kind of connectedness, is what is samsara. So therefore, the conscious disidentification in the waking hours is very important. And this can be very easily done. You start taking something so seriously. Okay, you have to just take a few breaths, relax and say, Asangoham, Asangoham. I'm not connected to this. I am myself alone. I am free. I am whole. I am contented. I am unafflicted. And this is something I just have to do. It doesn't matter. In any case, I'm not the doer. Bhagavan is the doer and Bhagavan will get this thing done through me. I will just do whatever I can and I will do my best. No matter what, I let go. So here, what is that? Nama Rupa Abhimana is to be, let go of. This letting go is very important. Otherwise, one is holding on to things so tightly. You have to let go. Let go, let go. Everything is fine. One is not doing anything anyway. What are we creating other than a mess and a confusion? Nothing. Nothing we are creating. We means at the level of the jivas. So nothing is being created. Even at the level of Sachidananda is also not creating anything. In either way, however you look at Atma, whether you say it's a jiva, identified Atma, doesn't matter. You're not the doer. No, I'm not jiva, I'm Sachidananda, I'm Ishvara. Ishvara is also not doing. This is the whole thing. So this tadatmya with the nama rupa as me and mine, so many ways this samsara has been defined, but this one right now that we are encountering is a very useful definition. And even though it looks simple, it's a very advanced definition coming in the latter half towards the end of the manuscript, the text. It's a very advanced definition. It's not as simple as it looks. So nama rupa tadatmya, not tadatmya, what is it? Abhimana is samsara. The identification with the nama rupa is samsara. Any nama rupa. So how many nama rupas I have to let go of? 1, 2, all. With all the nama rupas, I have a benign connection where the me, the mine, and that association of me and mine is not there. I let go. Actually, it's very healthy because then you can enjoy the nama rupas. Otherwise, you can never enjoy the nama rupas. And then what is, and he says this is samsara not just for me, but for everyone. Sarva dehinam. For all those that are endowed with a body, the affliction arises not from the nama rupas, but from the identification with the nama rupas. Whereas, Satchidananda drishtihi syat muktihi. Thus proclaims Vedanta. Satchidananda drishtihi muktihi syat. Satchidananda drishti is the looking upon everything not as nama rupa, but what? Satchidananda. Transcending cognitively the nama rupa. Just like you do when you say touch wood. You have transcended the table, you have transcended the name, you have transcended the form, you have transcended everything, you're only looking at wood. So too, all the nama rupas are resolving into me alone. All that is there is Satchidananda. I am Satchidananda. Going back to this. This is formerly called rose, but now Satchidananda. I see only Satchidananda in everything. And that is called moksha. Seeing Satchidananda in everything is moksha. Seeing discrete nama rupas and hating one and loving the other and identifying, being tied to the nama rupas emotionally is called samsara. Very clear, very beautiful. And the pace has also picked up because it is towards the end. Then further what happens as a result is given here. Satchidananda satyatve Mithyatve nama rupayoho Vijñāte kimidam jñeyam Iti Vedanta dindimaha. So, then kimidam jñeyam. It's a rhetorical question. Satchidananda satyatve. When Satchidananda has been understood as the only thing there is, the truth, the ultimate and absolute reality, and the definition of the word I, when it is understood as Satchidananda alone. And all the nama rupas have been declared to be mithya, meaning Satchidananda alone. Because wherever there is mithya, there is satyam. Because the adhisthana has to be there. So therefore, I let go, just like when I say touch wood, I let go of the form and the name called table. And despite the table being right here, I am seeing and connecting only with the wood. Similarly, all the nama rupas are resolved into Satchidananda. And so therefore, the nama rupas are mithya, and that which informs the nama rupa is Satchidananda alone. Satchidananda satyatve. And it's all absolute locative construction. When the truth of the, because it's a conditional, it's a conditional statement. When this happens, then that happens. So when the Satchidananda of myself is affirmed, then what happens? Then and then the mithyatvam of the Jagat is also seen and affirmed and ascertained. And then what happens? Let us see. So the mithyatvam of the Jagat is seen and Satchidananda of myself is seen. Then Vijñāte, when this is ascertained properly, kim idam jneyam. What else is there to know? What else is there to know? What is the answer? Nothing. It's a rhetorical question. Don't say, I want to sign up for being the first colonizer of Mars. They're taking names. Seriously.
They're not coming back.
No, they're not. One-way ticket. Free ticket they're going to give. And they can start a colony on Mars. Many people, especially youth, have signed up.
They're screening people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because after Jnanam, what? I think I'll go to Mars. Something, this is... somebody asked Pujya Swamiji a question. Pujya Swamiji, yes, I was witness to this. I'm enlightened. Good, Swamiji said. So what should I do now? So, and this is given specifically because there is something called post-enlightenment ahankara. Satyamidam. Yeah. There comes an elation, and along with the elation comes I know and you don't, and I know and you don't either, and I know. All of you Philistines, ignoramuses, I'm the only one. Aham janami. That aham is still there, correct? Yeah, aham. This ahankara is so tricky. That's the whole thing. And so, after enlightenment, what? And because this is the mind. I have to conquer something, and then I have to kill it, and then, this is what it is. Like if you see a cat in the wild, this is what it does. It plays with the prey, then it kills the prey, then it eats the prey, and then on to another thing. So the human mind also, maybe we were evolved from all these animals from before. The human mind also is all about conquest, an important puzzle, a very tricky game, something I can't, and even a person, somebody who is very mesmerizing and intriguing and very mysterious. Such are the people that people will fall in love with, Emphasis is on fall. Yeah. And so, and then because they want to figure the person out, they want to conquer the person, just like conquering Mount Everest. And then after that, on to the next one. Something else attracts. This is how the human mind is powered by ragadveshas. Always something new. And lest we make that mistake with jnanam also. After jnanam, something else will be there. Kim nasti kinchit. Nothing else is there. Jneyat, Jneyam. Jneyam means that which is to be known. Only geyam, only things to be sung, as we saw. Not jneyam, only geyam. Things worth singing about. Not things, nothing to know. Because all the longings, we have to understand this properly, that Vedanta Shastra, Brahma Jnanam, is not one more pursuit along with all the other pursuits in the universe. This is the frequent mistake that people make, which is because, of ignorance. And because of ignorance, one makes this mistake, and frequently you will hear people saying, I don't have time to attend class because I am doing something else. I am doing this, therefore I don't have time to come to class. I'm really busy, therefore I don't have time to come to class. So this therefore is an illogical therefore. And it's coming out of a wrong thinking that this pursuit of myself, as is taught by Vedanta, is one more thing on a par with all the other things that I have to do or that I want to do. So therefore always one will say, I don't have time for self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is not another thing you have to do. Self-knowledge signifies the cessation of all things that you feel pressured to do. It is the cessation of the storehouse of longings that power every other activity. Knowing this, nothing more needs to be done, nothing more needs to be gained, nothing, more needs to be reached. All wanderlust drops. All other forms of longing drop. All other mental acrobatics, I have to conquer this, I have to figure out this, I have to do this, drop. And then when I say this frequently, the understanding also drops. And people say, then how will the progress in the world take place? Here we are. Let's say the room is, full of people listening to this class. Let's say there are 100 people listening to this class. Then all the 100 go home, kimidam nasti kinchit, geyam nasti, and sit, And then another class, 100 more people, just sit, and the whole world will not progress. All scientific progress band ho jayega, it will stop, nothing will work, nobody will go. No, there will be apathy. There will not be any movement towards, there should be some movement. Really speaking, what progress? Being addicted to tablets, that's the progress? The phone becoming smarter than the person, progress? That's why it's called smartphone. It's a statement on you when you say smartphone. Phone becomes satyam, you become mithya. You are dependent on the phone. That is progress? Everyone killing one another, that is progress? Really? And besides, the progress doesn't stop. It's not that. It's not that, when you talk about Naishkarmya Siddhi, the understanding that I am not a karta, that doesn't mean that progress stops. That means you are free to do more than even before. Before there was always a threshold. Now there is no threshold because there is no limitations. You can do whatever you want. If your prarabdha allows, some people's prarabdha is very nice for them to take a nice long retirement. Some people's prarabdha makes them go place to place and sit and teach and do things. So you just are in the hands of whatever is there. However the universe, Bhagavan has ordained the rest of this body, mind, sense complex to be, that is what will take place. And as though everybody is going to get moksha overnight, This is the weakest argument against moksha I have ever seen. So therefore the mistake that is being made is that Vedanta is seen as one more thing to be understood. What if I get bored of Vedanta? That's a worry for people. And especially people who are very intelligent and they are frequently bored with many things, Even in the class, as a first grade, second grade student, they would have been looking out of the window because they were bored. And so these kinds of people, they have trepidation to study Vedanta because they feel like they will outgrow it and get bored. Just like you never get bored looking at yourself in the mirror, you will never get bored looking into the mirror that is the Shastra. You'll never get bored. Because the love for oneself is total. And the self is indeed lovable. It's the only object which is the subject of love. That is the self. So there is no getting bored. But in other words, we have to also see that the quest, all my requests have culminated in this teaching alone. There is no more for me. I am no longer a seeker. Only after this knowledge you can say. No other place you can say this. So, kim jneyam syat. What is there to know? Nothing more is there to know. And then nothing more is there to do. Also is going to be said in the forthcoming verses, which we will see next time. When is the next class? March 1st, I think. Yeah, March 1st. Same time, 9:30. We will see in the next class. So this is a good stopping point. So I'll stop here, and then after the closing prayer we'll have some questions, and we'll do that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions? Online also you can type.
I can see on this one.
Any questions? No? Okay, that's good. Tuesday we have Shvetashvatara, and Wednesday we can have Kathopanishad.
Yes, 3:15.
3:15 we have Bhashya.
Bhashya, and then 6.
6 o'clock
Yes.
Kathopanishad.
Yes.
Yeah. 3:15 what Bhashya? Kathopanishad Bhashya. And then 6 o'clock just Kathopanishad. That's for this week. And Saturday Mundakopanishad 7:30 in the morning. Okay. All right. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
My daughter's coming to see you.
Hmm?
My daughter's coming to say hello.
Oh, okay. She can come.
Laurie says she's getting used to not being emotionally attached to this
Tara, how are you? Hi, come. Come. This is